This is it. You can make yourself pretty yet, but this is it. We are. Oh my God, we are live. Good morning.
Good
Bring yourselves
morning.
So,
Happy Friday.
up.
yes, Ed, how cold is it outside? How
You don't
cold?
see my hat? Look at this hat. This is how cold it is outside. That if you just look at my hat, you get the chills.
You know what? It's 16
Wow.
degrees.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think
That's
16
cold.
degrees Fahrenheit. How much is that in Celsius? Let's look at it. 1 second.
Celsius. Who even
Minus
checks
9
Celsius?
degrees Celsius. It
Oh.
is cold. Yes. All
Nah,
right, everyone.
stop it.
Morning, Kika. Thank you for tuning in. Good morning, Alex.
Alex.
Oh, let me check the
So
chat.
today we
Hey.
installment of our personality profile. What you call that? We're dissecting each personality
Good morning,
and
Melody.
how we can work with buyers and sellers of that personality and how we can handle it with our own personality or challenges or how we need to acclimate to the certain personality style and how we need to understand the other. Understanding is a big thing. All right. So today,
Compassion is a big thing. You gotta be
today's
compassionate.
the passion. Today's third installment is dealing with an S-type personality, buyer or seller. So the S's are also known as the more sensible, more caring, more cooperative. I'm gonna add my little chart here, and should we do a little quick run through of the DISC again without going too much into details because we've been doing this every week,
Sure. We
right?
can just to acknowledge real quick though. Entella said, "Good morning and good job, my friend."
Oh, Entella is the best. Love that
Good
girl.
morning, Melody.
Hi, Amanda. So, I mean, look, to really kind of run through it quickly, all right? We have the D personality, which we touched on a while back. You know,
Yeah.
these are people that are more direct, straight to the point. Um, they really don't like to waste any time. They really
Task-oriented,
don't
yes.
have they really don't have any patience either. So it takes a lot of patience to deal with the D. All right. We also touched on the I, which I come to realize I have a lot of. So, you know, influence. We were enthusiastic, friendly, optimistic
Optimistic,
people.
yes. Yeah.
We have a lot of views, a lot of ideas, a lot of goals that we want to freaking accomplish. But it's just like it kind of takes some time for us to get there. Right. It's like we're kind of, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get to it, you know. And then
Right.
finally, we got the S, which we're going to be touching in today. We'll touch on C next week to kind of close out the session. But what we do want you guys to do is if you know what your personality style is, throw it in the comment box. If you have a significant other that you might know what their personality traits are, throw it in the box. Or even
And if
business.
you have a story with an S-type seller that was really striking, or if you want to just comment on the last experience you had, please do so. Like, put it in the comments. If you want, actually, we can display it. If you really have to display, just put it in the comments, and we make sure we feature you. All right. So
And also,
yeah.
and
go
also,
ahead.
just if anyone actually has any like objections or any questions that they've actually weren't able to handle within that,
Yeah.
I mean, feel free to throw that in there. We'll try to help you out with that.
Yes, we're the scientist of real estate. All right. Did you know, guys, that the largest chunk of population on Earth, I'm not talking about the other planets, the largest chunk of population on Earth at 69, 70% are S-type, which is actually a pretty good thing. I would say overall, we're all a nice bunch. I tend to believe that in all, we're good. So again, this is Facebook Live. We're going to have it in our private Facebook group, the Alliance Movement, and also, I guess, in my Facebook private page, and what is it called also? YouTube. No English. So the Peacemaker, and here we're featuring that dove because the S-type styles are really loyal. They're motivated by cooperation, opportunities to help, and sincere appreciation. They prioritize giving support, collaborating, and maintaining stability, and are often described as calm, patient, predictable, deliberate, stable, and consistent. And I'm going to make a little parenthesis here. I would say calm, stable, consistent, and patient. To me, that is Israel. And it's really like, this is that you know what you're getting, because, and you can count on this stability. And I love that about you, Israel.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
And then Ed has some S too. And it was fighting me for a long time, saying, no. I'm like, yes, you are. So let's go over the fears of the S. It's, there could be challenges as well. Anyway, change. The S's don't like change. They love stability. They don't like to offend others. They're very caring about the other people would feel. And they are always afraid of letting people down. They value loyalty, helping others, of course, security. And other uses of that personality type could be modesty. They could be overly modest, passive resistance, compromise. And we'll go deep into this because this is some trait that sometimes for me, shutting down just drive me off the wall, but it's okay. Influence others by accommodation, consistent performance, and in conflict, they keep to their own, and they just might shut down and not even listen to anyone. And they could improve effectiveness through displaying more self-confidence, revealing their true feelings, and so on and so forth. Do you guys want to comment on that a little bit?
I mean,
no.
I guess on my end, I mean, the way I look at it too is either being a peacekeeper or being a supportive role. I mean, honestly, that's how I see S. Other ways are people seeing it as a person who's amiable. But again, I've always felt that because of my traits, I'm that backstage person, the supportive person. That if you ever need anything from me, obviously I have the calm, patient way of handling things, and I'll take care of it right away. So that's how I see the S. What do you think, Ed?
I mean, you guys hit it on the head. I'll be honest. Look, in the office, for example, when we used to go to the office, right? Pre-COVID.
Where is that? Yeah.
It's like we used to go in there, and I remember when I first started, if there was any assistance that I needed, I remember just kind of voicing it, and Israel would kind of say, "Hey, I can help you out with that," and he'd kind of pitch in, chime in, and he was always that type. He was always the one to kind of just give. Be supportive, and then try to help you as best as you can along the way. That's the type of people that is true. They're loyal. They're the loyal type of folks that you want to work with. Yeah.
Taking Israel as an example, is always there. You like to, when it comes to cooperation and team playing, you're there, man. There is no denying. You're there. You're just there. And this is your constant. And we love this about you. I refer to this book, Selling Naked. It's not about selling
not
naked.
Literally, right?
Sell naked on the phone.
Not literally.
You could, you could.
Well, you're absolutely right. In today's world, I mean, virtually, just need to slap a shirt on. You're all good.
Listen, sometimes that happens sometimes, because if the camera's sitting there and you're like, "Oh, I gotta grab my coffee," and you get up, forget it. Put on the show.
Down, yes.
Don't put on the show.
Let's get back to guys. I was reading in that book that people with high S traits make great sales professionals. And this is good. We can poke fun of the S's for being sensitive and stuff like that. Especially me as a very high D and I have a lot of challenges to overcome with S's and C's. But, we discuss it.
Remember, it's not the challenges with the S's or the C's. It's really the challenges with just being patient.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Why do S personality people make great sales professionals? Because they listen well. Unlike the I that talks, the S listens. They make people feel comfortable and at ease. That's a very, very great trait. They can build strong relationships with their customers. All right. And because they create trusting relationships. We say that so customers get back to them. Could be great for referrals. And then they follow leadership well. but is unlike me, they finish where they start and once, and then they get moving, which is great. They avoid conflict, which could be good, which could be also challenging sometimes, because I feel you need to just take this head on as a D, but it's okay. And they're actually very good at customer service because they aim to please, and they have an easygoing approach, and they're very dependable. This is the term I was looking for when I wanted to describe Israel. Dependable. Yes, yes, is my goal. Is dependable. Feel comfortable doing a repetitive task, follow through, and so on and so forth. Facebook audience, if you wanted to just like throw in your comments, if you feel this is you, and if you feel you want to add something about that personality trait, please feel welcome. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you to that next slide because this is your domain. The S-style challenges and S-style in leadership. All right.
Well, I'll start off by saying S-style goals. I mean, S-style tends to have goals such as these, which is cultivate harmony and stability, strive on for team's accomplishments, finds goals of acceptance, achieve powers through formal roles and positions of authority, and maintain status quo and control of the environment. So again, it goes back to what I was saying. You know, the S is the supporter. S is the backstager. S is the person who makes sure that, you know, as the chaos is going crazy, you just calm everything down and relax and works on getting things the right way. You won't find an S to be a fighter, but you will find the S to be the supportive person there. So that's why when looking at the words like harmony and stability, you'll find that it is always a calming situation with an S personality. And you want to take the challenge one?
Yeah, man. So look, the challenges, and I like the way they use the word challenge instead of other words like flaws or like
shortcomings. I like shortcomings.
You know, but look, I mean, at the end of the day, these are the challenges that we do have to work on. Okay, I know it's hard. I know for us S's is very difficult. All right, I'm having a hard time admitting it myself, but after taking the assessment test, I've realized where I stand. So it's funny. It's funny when you take it. So if you haven't had the opportunity to do it, please do. If you need the link, Gigi, I don't know if you have the link. If you want to put that in the chat,
I'm going to put it in the chat right now.
Perfect. So quickly adapt to change or unclear expectations. All right. I know it's hard. I know we need to have things organized and, hey, this is the step and just follow these steps and you're going to get there. It's almost like we grew up with that, right? Our parents told us, go to school, do good in school, you're going to get a good job and all your dreams are going to come true. And then now it's almost like, what is really going on? That's another topic, right? But that's what it is. It's okay. It's life. We don't have a rule book. We don't have a guidebook. We don't really know how to do it. But you know what? All you got to do is take a second, take a deep breath, organize your thoughts, put them all together. You're going to get through this. All right. Multitasking. I know it's hard, but it's kind of fits into the other one as far as things happening, things changing, things being unclear. Look, you just gotta adapt. That's all. If it's out of your control and you can't physically change it or control it, then why get mad over it? There's no need to get mad over it. And then promoting themselves, it's hard. It's hard to talk about yourself because it almost feels like you might be coming out a little conceited.
Right.
Okay. But it's okay. It's okay to kind of talk about some of your not challenges, some of your accomplishments. Okay. It's okay to talk about it because other people like to connect or find common ground with those that have maybe gone through the similar experiences. So it's okay to express yourself a little bit, even though it's
what I'm noticing, like the people that have commented on our Facebook streaming right now, none of them are S's.
No.
Amanda is very much of an I. Melody, I don't know her well, but I know she has some a lot of like.
She said she was a S. I think she said she was a S. Or I see it was.
I see, yeah. I don't see much. And then Antela is definitely a D, and Kika is a super I. So you please don't hesitate to share what personality trait you know.
That's the problem with the S's. I mean, as you said, it's like they don't promote themselves,
Right.
You know, they're introvert. They're like, I don't know if I should press S.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's almost
Yeah,
like
yeah,
these live chats. It's like, oh my God, should we go live? Like, wait,
Right.
don't go live yet. Hold on. Just wait. Let's think about this, right? That's the same feeling. So, look, again, in what I do that helps me is I take a deep breath, organize my thoughts, take a second, and then move forward. All right.
So
Comfort others.
Amanda is an IC. I sort of knew that because she loves those charts. And so is Melody. Thank you guys for sharing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
I'm gonna add. I'm gonna put that comment here. Take the personality test through that. It's great.
Who's that?
Huh? That's what do you mean? That's
back
thing.
Back in 3 days ago. Right? 3 days ago.
This is me in
For the co-op application.
No, this is me in 2009, I believe.
iPersonality's coming out.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I haven't changed that picture.
Oh, here we go. Audrey, you got to see us.
Beautiful. Yes.
Right.
Go.
Cool. You see? There you go, Izzy. Team Izzy in the house. Right? So comfort others. I mean, and just to kind of finish off with the challenges, guys, comfort others, overcome indecisiveness, resist over accommodation. So look, again, when things aren't going the way we would want them to go, if things aren't done in order, it's okay. Again, the only thing I can keep saying to this is take a deep breath, take a minute, step back, express yourself if you need to. But remember, if you can't control these things, if you can't physically change them, don't waste energy on it.
So I'm going to piggyback on what you're saying right now, which is amazing about this when reading this for the first time, even hearing it again. I was actually a retail manager for over 18, 17 years or so. Can you imagine, I mean, for those in management who've been management, whatever, can you imagine me having to deal with every single point in here, you know, and having to deal with confronting a client, having to deal with multitasking, having to deal with all these other things, and I'm an S person, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't. These guys are going to kill me, right? But, you know, I was, from a point of being a supervisor to a point of being a store manager, you know, it was pretty much, I was aging myself, if you want to call it that, because here I am. I'm every day I'm dealing with the same challenges over and over again with multitasking, confronting others, confronting buyers or customers, or confronting workers who don't want to come into work because all of a sudden their eyes are bothering them. You know, it's like it was so many different things.
Yeah.
And you know, I took that experience into now real estate, and I could tell you that it's really a completely different world for me. So
now you see, and I'm just to kind of leave it off at this, guys. Now you see what Israel said right there. He was talking about how he literally had to multitask, but the thing was that he was working on that challenge. It was going through the process. It was dealing with it. And I don't know if you know it then, Israel, but if you understood this personality as much as you do now, if you understood it then, how much more effective do you think you would have been with rallying the troops, with getting them together, with getting them to execute a plan? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It would have been a completely different world for me at that point. So,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm really glad we've been offered these tools, and it's true. I discovered a personality profile doing real estate, you know, and I think for many years I don't know what I fit on. So sometimes I thought I was a little bit crazy. I'm like, there is crazy in me. I need to work on this, you know. But it's not crazy. It's just you know. And depending on where you come from in the world. I think culturally, some personality traits are not really accepted. You know, it's not where I come from. It's not okay to be completely exuberant. You know, it's not okay to be aggressive and direct the way I am. So, you know, you have to also understand that. You know,
right?
Really, you know, it's your personality traits are affected as well. You know, right. You come to America and you yourself. All right. Did we do the leadership? Did we do that?
If you guys wanted to, I was just going to jump right into that, only because
go ahead.
Yeah, as I was reading it, I just started to laugh internally. And I feel like if you start to read something and laugh internally, there's a connection there. So
Yeah.
I
Of
start
course.
to have little flashbacks of memories. But um, again, S style leaders are naturally collaborators. Like we
Yeah.
said about Israel earlier, he was always there. You can count on him, and he wanted to be a part of the team. You know what I mean? The minute we get them in that position, that's it. The loyalty is there. We're working together. We got it. Jam packed.
Yep.
We locked arms and we're moving forward. You know what I mean? So collaborators who like to reach. Oh man, you're gonna have to help me with that word.
Let me see that word. Let's look at that word.
You're
Let
right.
me let me butcher. Let me butcher it.
So
In
who like to reach consensus and create win-win situations.
a
However, they
consensus.
can sometimes be passive, overly trusting, letting others take advantage of their supportive and patient natures. So, I mean, as a style, often display leadership characteristics such as these: inclusive, humble, and affirming. Yeah, I put a check mark on all those for me.
Wow.
So
This
yeah,
is
now,
very insight. I'm staying silent on this one because I will let you guys describe your own personality in leadership because I'm not really good.
yeah,
I'm just seeing the dependable and supportive and team player and all this, but this is I
so here's where I have to interject, and again, we've spent time together, so I'm gonna have to say that I feel deep down inside, as much as we can all have all kinds of
yeah
personalities and flex and change, and depending on the perspective or the position that we're in, will ultimately shift. But I believe that you don't give yourself enough credit for an S-type personality, because I
I
have
agree.
seen you as tough as a tough cookie as you might be. I have seen you open up and feel for others in other situations where in my mind, I might feel like that's really not a big thing, but you would find a way to connect and try to bring it back to common ground.
yeah
So I
no
believe,
definitely we do all have those four personality four. I showed five, but it's four. All personality traits we do, and being a mother, yes, I'm sympathetic, emphatic. How you say that? Emphatic, whatever, weird word.
empathetic.
Empathetic, and it's there. Um, yeah, no, but I do genuinely when it's there is S type for sure. Like in certain situation, yeah. When I feel somebody's in distress, I think my S is gonna come up definitely. When I feel like the need for the whole group to keep going. And again, sometimes for me it's a question of keeping the control. But yes, I would want to nurture. Like yeah, sure. I'm the mom in the office. I was when we were open. Yes, that's for sure.
You still are.
No,
It's
thank
still
you.
hard. Yeah, I agree.
Still a mom, but just not of the office, like of the
Right.
cloud.
So again, depending on the situation, those personality traits would come up, because they're there, and most of the time, just being yourself, they're gonna be they don't have to come out. But in that stressful situation, let's say I'm like it's funny because in my on my desk, I have bandages, I have antibiotic cream. I'm ready for any type of little boo boo. And I have like what is it like a headache, like not like acetaminophen or Advil or anything like that, ready for agents can come up and say, "Do you have? I have a headache. Do you have anything for that?" Yes, I do. Yes, that's my mom's side, and it just comes out, and that makes me comfortable to be ready for that when I need to. That's it.
Right.
We'll have all that. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. All right, should we move on?
Yeah.
And this is to just go back into the strength and challenges, which is part of Eddie's personality profile results, right? You came out as
Yeah.
a 66% S, correct?
Correct. 66% S profile.
Which,
So as
yeah,
I was going through the report, I noticed some of the boxes because it broke down all of them. Again, you're a piece of every single one of them.
Right.
But you're just going to be a little stronger in certain categories. So um, as far as the strengths, again, we touched on it: accommodating, loyal, flexible, compassionate, empathetic, right? That's what
yeah.
Gigi's trying to be. Empathetic.
What do you
Good
mean?
with
I
routine.
could be. I
Practical.
could be.
Well, I'm just taking the words out of your mouth. Nah. um, but good with routine, right? Again, if
Yeah.
we just organize a step by step, perfect. Practical, they're calm, dependent, diplomatic, right? As far as the challenges go, poor planning. Again, if we just have somebody to work with, that's where that team player comes into play. It's almost like I feel like an S person, if they understand themselves and understand the other personalities that they're working with, I feel like they can easily step back, and this is why maybe they make good like managers, or they make they're good in high positions, because of the fact that they're able to identify what everybody's strengths and weaknesses are, and then let that person excel in whatever their strengths are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like you're putting the pieces in its place, you know? So again, poor planning, stubborn, quiet, will of iron. Yeah, that's true. They can be very quiet. There can be a lot of stuff flowing through their mind, and it's hard to put them into words.
When they shut down, yes, yeah.
So
true.
dislike conflict, 100%. They don't like conflict, and I feel like this is where we can also drop the ball, is because of the fact that, let's say, Israel, you wanted some constructive criticism, but if I know that you're also an S personality, I might not be straightforward with you. I might not be 100% because I don't know how it might affect you.
Right.
Unless you're like a D personality and you come off to me super straight, super straightforward, then at that point I'm gonna let it fly. You're gonna find out exactly what it is that I feel or what I think might need some fixing. But aside from that, that's where we might drop the ball. We might not be 110% when we're giving our constructive criticism.
Right.
Sometimes won't say what's on their mind. Yeah, that happens. I can confirm that. Takes time to process decisions. Gigi hit that on the head. It's true. Why do we take time? We just need somebody to kind of hold our hand.
And
And I don't know if you can see my arm coming over, but just give me a hug and say, hey, don't worry. We're going to put this together. Like, we're going to do this together.
As a DI, this is where my challenge comes in. I lack the patience. And this is where, especially with the clients we have, buyers or seller, it's like, come on, let's just make an offer now. It's like, not wait 2 months. Let's do it now. Like sign the agreement now. Let's do it. And I have to step back and say, here, I have to make them comfortable. I have to show them the advantages for this, that, how we're gonna collaborate together. Because if I'm just going to listen to myself, there is no together. Let's just do it. Just go. And
if you look at
you have to step back and slow down. It can be difficult. Those challenges for me are I am aware that, I always have to work on this and just slow down and listen more and be more compassionate with them and feel, like those words. I don't use the word I feel a lot. I am more of a I think, and this is it. The feeling is great. It's good. Lovey-dovey is lovely. But yeah.
Listen.
Yeah, okay.
That can turn into a whole different topic.
But it's just that, this whole little kumbaya thing is too much, for me. So yes, I do have to come down and adapt a little bit.
But there's always a long and short way to that, right? And honestly, when you look at the rest of the list, struggles with decision making and everything else like that. I mean, questions like, what would help you? What do you need from me to help you make a decision a little quicker?
Right.
Would be a great question to ask, right? And it's like, what do you need from me? Do you need more comps? What do you need? What information? What is exactly that you need, so that every time we go to a showing, or in other words,
this is an S response to an S client,
right? And that's exactly how I would do it.
Yeah. So for me as a D, this is how I would. I'm trying to think. I'm like, my eyes are all over the screen right now, because this is pretty organic. So I'm working with, I rarely work with buyers, but I'm working with very strong S buyers right now. And I telling them, I feel if we want to get this offer accepted, we need to, really get ready and have all the paperwork together. And even though it's taking them forever to get all that documentation, I'm like, okay, just be nice and just make sure I explain to them exactly what we need and why we need it. and how we're going to pull this together, and I'm going to help them put the offer together, and I'm going to present it in that way. And I don't ask them, because I know their questions is how do we do this, and I tell them already like how it's going to be done, and that alleviates sometimes some of the questions they have on how are we going to.
I think if they are more in touch, as we're looking at here, if they're more in touch with their emotions and their feelings, they're really not going to be in touch with the offer. The offer is money coming out of the pocket. Here's what I want you to think about. Money is coming out of my pocket. If an absorbent amount of money is coming out of my pocket, how do you feel?
Oh yeah.
I feel good.
I don't care how sweet that offer might be if you break down how we're going to put the offer together. What I want to know is in the backyard, are my kids going to have
value, bringing the value to what that offer is going to bring. Yeah. And you need to highlight. Yeah.
You know, so I mean, they can I believe for a D personality, they can be very difficult. Why? Because you have to have patience with them. But I believe that with an S personality, they are very easy to get along with, and most of the time they're easygoing, and they'll go with whatever the decision is, as long as, like you said, as long as you present the value behind it.
Right, and as long as you have this spirit of cooperation, like we're doing this together, and this is what value we're going to bring, and this is your item, whatever you're purchasing, you're making a great investment because of this, and we made sure we covered this when we went to see it. We eliminated what we didn't want. We're getting this. So help them make the decision. Help them, but slowly. Not just say, okay, let's go. Let's make an offer. Good. Same thing with an S. Yesterday, sending some paperwork on a seller. I did my D thing because I was really busy with we having a lot of potential sellers to deal with. I had appointment galore. I had to go meet another seller in Long Island, and I sent this lady some paperwork, and I just realized we have a lot of forms to be compliant. In real estate, you need to send a lot of disclosures, and I realized it was very, very difficult for her and confusing. So I had to step back and say, oh my God, let me just break it down for you. Like this is the agreement. We're going to have the data section. It's all going to be about all the property. We know the property, we went through it. And then we have 3 pages of agreement for multiple listing service. And this is, we break down and reiterate the commission structure that we agreed on, the terms, the price, and so on and so forth. And the rest are disclosures. And I enumerated the disclosures and what we need to have. And she was just, okay.
They just need a little bit of time. That's it. Just give them a little bit of time.
As a D, I had no time yesterday.
Yes, you do.
Send this.
You have time. Stop it. I hate it. These always say that. These say they never have time, and then the S's are just like, they don't want you to know they have a lot of time.
So true. So true.
So we have to be mindful of the other. This is what this 4-part training is going to be about. Like, be mindful of who you're dealing with. Understand who they are, and we'll all be successful, and we can make buyers and seller happy and really bring value to our service. Once we ourselves.
And also, I mean, when you're speaking to an S, and with all these great trainings, when speaking to an S, there are certain things you'll notice. I mean, notice how, both Ed and Gigi are speaking. Notice that everybody's saying that I am an S personality. I'm quiet. I'm reserved, right? I'm not as, I'm not talking as much. So when you're in front of someone who you don't know whether they're an S or not, be mindful of their personality. Be mindful of their body language. Be mindful of how they speak. Be mindful of what they're saying. Because right off the bat, you can tell without even asking, hey, have you taken a personality test? Yeah. You can see right away that person is a little bit reserved, a little bit introvert, a little bit held back a little bit, while everybody else around them is talking and being actionable. So that's a really great way to look at it too.
I'm just making.
So how to sell to S personalities? I mean,
Yes. Let me. Well, I stole that again from the internet. Thank you, Google. So, how to sell to an S personality? Like pitch a vision. Like I was explaining with my with the seller and the buyer I'm dealing with. Like help them visualize the outcomes their business could achieve with the help of your product of service. So we're keeping this general because I'm hoping somebody outside of real estate would want to listen to this.
course.
Take time to build the rapport. You know, amiables, S types, they need to feel safe in the relationship with you, your company. And sometimes they want to hear about the company, you know, and they need to be reassured that you're not a fly by night business, and before they're even comfortable doing business with you. One thing that, yes, I learned throughout the years in studying personality profile is like bring examples of similar clients who had successfully used your services.
Yeah.
Flesh out the story. Why did client X come to you? What tipped them towards your services? Which feature were most important? Details like this are like convincing to these. And to sell, again, because they're taking so much time to make a decision, and could be what I use the term wishy-washy, which is kind of a little bit strong, but take the look at an expert and walk them through the decision-making process. I think if you take this nice soft approach of showing the value and say, here, this is what we're gonna take this step, it's gonna bring this outcome, and then we'll have this result. And those are those details that can really convince S types. All right. So you have to again, instead of overwhelming and amiable with information, just like that seller I had, help them through the process and act as an advisor. Keep it simple though. All right. And the guarantees, yeah, you're right. Personal guarantees are because S types are risk averse, just like C types, which we'll discuss next week. Like in the retail right here, for example, promising them the company will refund the purchase if they're not satisfied, or they can cancel at any time, will calm their anxiety and make them more likely to buy a service. And I want you guys to expand on this a little bit, because this one I had to steal it from the internet.
Well, I mean, look, in my opinion, when somebody does that, because I've heard buyers, right, say, hey, what's a guarantee? Like, what are you guaranteeing? What's the guarantee my offer is going to get accepted? If I submit this offer, what's the guarantee? And I tell them, I can only guarantee.
There was this Israeli what was the name of this trainer?
Which one?
We had the training once.
We
had this warranty of service for a listing as a listing agent, and I sometimes pull that out, because if I'm seeing those sellers being nonverbal and just not, or asking me a lot of questions and there is no decision, I'll pull out, and I'll definitely put my reputation at risk and say, here, this is a warranty of service. If I don't do what I said I would do, which I'm putting in right now, fire me. I'm going to have 7 days to rectify the situation. If I don't do it, I'm out. And I've pulled it out, and it makes them, and you know, in the end, I never got fired, you know, but it made people comfortable. And I'm ready to actually put a deal like this at here. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll sign the listing. We'll get it 5-6%. Or sometimes even in challenging situation where you have a very like a seller who's a little bit overpriced, but you don't want the listing, so you're going to take that listing a little bit overpriced with the notion that in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're going to have to do a price reduction. So there is coming with this so many questions for them, and that warranty of service and giving them the feedback of what you're doing, explaining to them the process along the way, that helps me close deals quicker, instead of having to come back on another listing appointment or having multiple consultations over the phone. Right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, when it comes to dealing with sellers or buyers, you're speaking of either representing them as a buyer's agent or a seller's agent, if you give them that warranty, that assurance, that feeling that you're able to first find what they're looking for or wanting to do as a real estate goal, And then at the same time, when you're actually at that point, I didn't know it was going to be zoomed in like this, so I'm going to step back here.
Yeah, I know. I just
No, I know, because I wanted to just hear you instead of just reading this. It's important.
So with that frame of mind as well, with the Nest personality, we all have the listing presentation but it's always at the end of the quality of work, and how much you're going to put in and what you're going to take care of. That they'll actually, in a high percentage, they'll sign in with you as long as they trust you, right?
Mhm.
Once they trust that what you're going to do, it's over, right? For a buyer's agent, the way I see it, and most of the times what's worked for me is that warranty, as you mentioned, where you could fire me if I don't do the job that you're asking me to, right? Within this certain amount of time. And I agree with you, Gigi. I have not been fired yet.
Yeah.
So, I'm not planning to get fired anytime soon. But the point is that with that frame in mind, it's really because they have that trust, because they have that warranty, because they have that exit plan, right? To say, you know what, I can work with him or her, and not worry about what they're going to do because I know they're going to take care of me. So that's really where it comes down to.
Yeah. Ed, what do you do?
listen.
The
I personality comes out, and this is what I said to you guys earlier. As far as the I goes, and again, the S's can get along with anyone, but I'm sorry, the I's can get along with anyone, and I believe because of their biggest the biggest characteristic that they possess, which is friendliness. They're just friendly people.
I'll add something, and Israel will add something to this because we got to be careful. Those are like muddy waters. We got to be very, very careful on this.
True, you do. But here's what I say. All right, when I'm dealing with them, correct. You can present, hey, look, this is the work that I established. This is what I'm gonna do. If you don't like it, if I don't meet the requirements, if I don't meet these standards, you can fire me. But I don't necessarily go directly to that.
That's my last card. That's something to.
I'm just saying that it's at the end. What I'm saying is the approach. My approach, my eye kicks in. Where does my eye kick in? I say, look, I really don't guarantee anything. The only things I can guarantee you is 3 things. Okay, you're gonna pay taxes, you're gonna die, and you're gonna pay taxes after you die. You see how you started laughing? That was my point. My point was to break the ice. My point was to break the ice and say no. And after they laugh, I'm like, no. But in all honesty, listen, this is the work that I'm gonna be doing. This is what I'm gonna be breaking.
But you bring the value. You explain.
Exactly.
The process.
This is what I'm going to be investing. So this is the conversation that I had with the seller. They were like, oh, let me ask you this. If 6 months from now, because they were trying to price ridiculously high, 6 months from now, if I decided to cancel the contract and I decided not to move forward, what happens then? I had to tell her straight up. You have to understand something. You can fire me. We can stop. If you hate me, you can say, hey, Ed, I'm not continuing this contract. But if you like the way I work, we can continue to move forward. The only thing I will say is, you have to understand something. If I take this listing right now, I'm investing time and money into this property. I'm getting professional photos done. I'm getting the advertisement done. I'm sending out information to all the local neighbors. I'm doing a lot of foot ground. All I ask is that if that is the case, and just to let you know, it will be in the contract. If that is the case, I'm just going to make sure that you're going to cover those expenses. That's it.
All right. So for me, this is what I wanted to get back to. Because I have such a high I and ID, I have to be mindful of not being overwhelming, because you guys might not know on Facebook, but I'm 6 feet tall. I'm 6 feet tall with that French accent and that very exuberant personality that I have to tone down a lot, and I'm loud. My feet comes out, so with an S, that's too much. I got to tone down, because Israel, you're going to explain, that's a very high I to you. All they're gonna hear is yak, 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 yak. I don't know. No, Israel, do you agree?
So for me, a high I, honestly, a high I, a person who's way too jittery, too emotional, I tend to revert back. I tend to edge back. I don't even want to be near that person anymore. Way too talkative. I just, honestly, they have way too much energy for me to be around. Even though that's a good thing, because my energy is not that high up there anyway. But at the same time, I mean, I tend to be like, okay, you know, I start doing the favorite thing in the world, which is the Michael Jackson moonwalk. I'll start moonwalking back after that situation, right? I mean,
I
I'm
don't
not
want to
really.
name names. I don't want to name names, but I remember Israel like dealing with the okay. That's actually you respond before you shut.
That's yeah.
Okay.
Israel has
And he's like,
Israel
you
has
know, this is
different
over.
levels. Okay, let's talk about that. I thought I was the only one that noticed it, but since you brought it up, this guy has different levels of okays, and I'm like,
Those are the okay from Israel.
My-
This
my okays are
okay
like
is like,
Okay.
okay,
and shut down.
What? It's like,
Done.
which okay is that, Israel?
Right? And that's exactly how I am. I mean, listen, I
I
don't
know.
too much energy,
It's
gotta
like-
go.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
again, it ties back to things being unstable, right? That's what it is.
Right.
You get somebody who can be bubbly, and it's nothing wrong with it. They're
No.
full of energy. They're bouncing back and forth. They're having a good time. But for someone else, it's like,
Okay.
what the hell is
I'm
wrong with
gonna
this?
add this comment from Kika, because Kika used to work with us as an admin. And she said, if Israel has nothing nice to say, you know. Okay.
So true.
And you won't.
Okay.
Right? Okay. That's funny. You know, if my girlfriend heard that right now, she'll be like, "Yep, he's right." That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so amazing.
So let's keep going with. So
But
let's
yeah, I mean, honestly, look, I obviously have the black belt of S, if you want to call it that. Or, you know, I'm a whole S when it comes down to it. But you know, you're DI, right?
Yeah.
And there's a point where we were researching this and said that, you know, D and S don't really mix well, right? It's like oil and water at a certain point.
it's a conflicting.
And then, right, and having the energy and flow of an I really, you know, reverts back to the S's being, wait a minute, hold on, let's slow down a little bit. But I have to say, starting with Gigi, you know, I've known you for years, love you, but we work well.
I love
Certain
you
times,
too.
CIS doesn't. Sometimes this person doesn't really work at every.
Kumaya,
Right,
I told you
right,
Kumaya.
I don't know how to do it. There you go,
Stop
perfect.
throwing gang signs, Israel. What the hell is that? God.
Whatever works. But
No,
the
I
point
mean,
is,
for
that,
us, in our dynamic, we got to understand each other's personality.
exactly.
So we're different.
And then,
It's a different dynamic, and
Right.
once you understand the core personality, you can really, know that person, the value. I mean, I on a regular CI, or what is it? Your CSI,
I'm a
SCI,
CSI,
your
CI,
CI, yeah.
CSI, yes. Just like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
so your CSI on a regular person, that would be a challenge. But because again, I know you and your core values
Yeah.
as a human being, that's what I love about you. And again, we're going to talk about love because we love each other on a professional level.
Yes.
Mentioned it, but this is that, so you can just brush the person. You understand the personality, and it doesn't have to take too much importance and in
Right.
decision on how you're going to interact with that person. Once you understand, all three of us,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, look, I've known Ed as well in a couple of years, and you know, him and I, we lost him. Okay, Ed, you don't have to be
Where's
mad at us.
Ed? Oh,
Probably has the connection problems. That's probably his
Yeah.
situation.
so let's
But
go
with
back.
him, I mean, I mean, he'll come back in a few minutes, but it's you know, with him, I mean, I love being around him. Love his energy. Love, you know, it's the way he makes it laugh and the way he makes you want to be around him, right? So, again,
he's
the
having
personality
problems
to say that
getting in.
is he coming
Yeah.
in?
Remove him until he's on, and maybe we can
We'll
just keep going.
continue, and if he can come on, he'll come on. Okay.
All right, so there was one quote from this is even too small for me. I need Waldo Emerson, which is the American father of transcendentalism. He's a philosopher, he's an essayist, he's a poet, and he was pretty much of an S, and said that the invariable mark of wisdom is to see the miraculous in the common. This is a typical S. very modest, but looking at very, still optimistic outcome on what is very common, right? And we were discussing the SI, the SC style.
Right.
S is an IS or SI, and I could actually give you a little bit of description. Is he on? He can't come on. For some reason, we lost him. So the SI style tend to be very generous, approachable, compassionate, influencing others to show empathy and patience. So yes, this is pretty much ahead. The traits are collaborative, well-liked, team-spirited, positive, encouraging, conflict averse, overextended, approachable, generous, and compassionate.
Yeah.
Their goals are to gain acceptance and have close relationship with others. Their
That's
fear is forced to pressure others. They don't like that. Definitely a no-no. And facing aggression. Influence others by showing empathy and being patient. Their overuse could be kindness, too much kind, and personal connection. And they are in conflict when they, show empathy when they gloss over problems. Like they're not going to deep dive into that problem head on, like he would do, or even a C in a different way. They improve effectiveness through saying no when necessary. Definitely say no. It's okay.
Right.
And addressing issues instead of just brushing it off and keeping it inside and harboring, that resentment. Leadership qualities. SI leaders tend to be laid back and patient, which is great, and supportive of their staff and colleagues. And sometimes they have a hard time confronting problems and acknowledging others' flow. But overall, because they're just calm and collected, they could rally up the group together and, highlight those that have like nice little skills, and they're not, because they're modest, just push other people in front is nice. And then the SC, which would be you, Israel.
I'll take over. So the SE style tends to accommodating, patient, reliable, influencing others through diplomacy and self-control.
Yeah.
Which is very true. I can see that. My traits, since these are part of mine, let's see, stable, consistent, predictable, accommodating, patient, inflexible, self-controlled, reliable, thoughtful, and soft-spoken.
Definitely you, yeah.
I'm not sure about the soft-spoken part, but all right.
No, but you are. Overall, you are. I mean, even when you're going to disagree with someone, it's always kind. You don't raise your voice too much.
Right.
You're going to make a point, but you're very nice.
He's back. He's
back. Yeah.
So the goal. Thank you for that. The goals of an SE is calm environment, flexed objectives, and steady progress. True. Fear, time pressure, and uncertainty and chaos. Oh yeah, definitely. I can't stand chaos. Let's see. Now, influences by others. So diplomacy.
You're very diplomatic, that's for sure. Yes.
Right. Diplomacy, self-control, and consistency. That's true. Overuse, willingness to let others lead. Okay.
No, that's not you. That part is you probably have more D in your chart than you think.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
And of course, it depends on the situation, but I'm sure I do. In conflict, encourages a calm demeanor and retreats from the conflict. Again,
withdrawal is.
I don't. I mean, if I have to fight, I will. But I mean, it's like I'm a teddy bear, not a big bear.
Yeah.
He's a lover, not a fighter.
So, there you go.
Improve effectiveness through.
So could improve effectiveness through initiate change and speaking up. That's true. And then leading qualities. So SE Styles leaders can be modest and fair-minded, provide reliable outcomes through steadiness and consistencies. They can also be rigid, overlying caution, and afraid to move beyond the status quo.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But all right, yeah. I know some SEs that are like that. I'm not like
typical, like a very out of control SC.
Right.
I don't know who said they're an SD. I don't see the name. It just says Facebook user.
You gotta catch them on Facebook.
I am. I'm going in there. We have 17 comment. Here you go.
I had to jump on my phone.
How come I can't see this?
SD.
Huh. Somebody from maybe my maybe our Facebook group.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, anyway. Moving on. Communicating with the highest, and this is where we all need probably to have an ear open to this, guys. No matter what personality combination or major trait we fall into. So do not rush headlong into business or the agenda. Building the relationship is very important.
Very true.
Have to be getting to know the person, show sincere interest in them as people.
Yeah.
That is true. You know, if they're going to tell you they're just coming back from doing some needling, like, or needlepoint project, try to be interested, especially me. You know, draw out their personal goals and objections. This is what we've been talking about working with these type of clients. Learn that along the years, and it just brings me so much better results. Present your case logically, non-threateningly, and in writing. Again, you know, like pulling out my warranty of service. That's a great example. And break the ice with some personal comments, and I would expand to personal experiences and other customers or clients and how they related to your services.
Right.
That how question has that specific question. How is really an S personality question. And please listen carefully. Don't interrupt. Let them speak their mind. Might be a little bit too slow for you, D's and I, but let them speak. Okay. Look for hurt feelings if the situation impacts them personally. So hurt feelings could be like Israel would say, they're just muting. They're withdrawing. They're not gonna tell you exactly what they're thinking. So you gotta look for those signs. Okay, you're gonna see in their face, it's just gonna shut down. They're not good. They're just gonna be nice and say, yeah, but you know this is not it. Ed or Israel, you guys want to add something to this?
I mean, to be honest, it's true. If only we could open up a little more. If only
SD is Estella. Hi, Estella.
You know,
hello.
Yeah, now I see it. So yes, Estella is a typical. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, so definitely they don't like being interrupted when they're speaking. That's for sure.
But in her lovely demeanor, but when she speaks,
they love when people listen. They love when people listen.
All right.
Example.
I'm sorry.
I'm hurt. I'm hurt.
I'm sorry. All right.
That was that squirrel moment.
Oh God! Oh my God! You guys are unbelievable. I just wanted to highlight
that squirrel moment.
Listen, this is good because
I let you guys.
What we're gauging. No, but this is good because what we're gauging is this is it. This is it. You're a high DI. Israel's SC. I'm an IS. There's different vibrations that we bring to the table, but at the end of the day, the key is that, like I said it before, they just want somebody to take them under their wing and to just say, hey, I know it's raining out. Don't worry. We're going to get through this. I have an umbrella. It's okay. That's really what they're looking for.
I have an umbrella.
You know, and I put them in simple terms like that so it's easier to understand. Oh my God.
What?
Perfect example. If this guy, you didn't even have to see him come onto the TV. You just saw the little camera strolling down the street and you already knew Mr. Rogers was coming on.
He is the epitome of S for me. He represents everything about S and because of his demeanor, I learned English in school and it was pretty much British English. And I spent hours watching Mr. Rogers because Fred Rogers speaks very slowly. And I was able to actually repeat what he would say. And it's still not working. I still have an accent. But I really spent hours really like listening to him and really understand how he would express himself. And I would say the first 6 months being in this country, I'm very grateful to Mr. Rogers. You know,
Beautiful.
his whole demeanor showed so much patience, and then how he would represent an all-American man and showcase American life and children, and that really helped me understand. Not that it was a big culture shock when I came here, but still, I understand the way of life and the way of speaking and the way of doing things. Instead of being thrown into it and just be French altogether all the time.
Oh, that was it?
So this is a quote from Mr. Rogers, from Fred Rogers. Mutual caring relationship require kindness and patience, tolerance, optimism, joy in the other's achievements, confidence in oneself, and the ability to give without undue thought of gain. And that's also Mother Teresa.
But look how humbling that quote was, though. If you think about it,
I know.
and it's almost like when people carry themselves. Yeah, but when people carry themselves like that, they can be having the worst day possible, but you will never know.
Absolutely.
I know. Yeah, very
And
humbling.
they're always gonna look out to make your day better.
But God forbid if you do find out, because they will explode.
Yeah, if you do find out, oh man, you're in for a world ride.
The world has changed.
I think we're gonna have to stop there. This is top of the hour. It's noon already. I'm gonna have to
I
move.
want to keep people too long.
I have an appointment.
No. But I actually wanted to say that, I mean, to end it really quick is, as a realtor, I mean, honestly, keep this question in mind. And when you're dealing with a seller, is, find out their personality. The best way is by asking to them to describe their home, and you can actually feel and hear how they actually describe their home. S personalities are usually a little bit reserved. They won't give you so much information. I's will give you more information, and D's will just say this, and that's it, right? So they won't give you too much, right? So just keep that in mind. Look at the personalities, look at the person's body type. And then one last thing, this doesn't have to just be real estate. This can also be personal, right? So I think we all knew somebody, and I've always said this to somebody where they were like, they don't get along with certain person around their lives. And I asked them, why don't you just give them a personality test and see if you actually mesh well? Right. And in a personal, way, if you don't mesh well with somebody, or if you just want to kind of see if you actually are in a good vibe with them, give them a personality test and see if it works. And see how well you mesh with them.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna end up by saying, if you guys out there on Facebook are not associated with us yet, and we want to know more how we can all collaborate and actually partner up, please send a message. What is it? A message?
A message.
And Israel and myself.
You can actually
DM me.
DM. There you go. I'm an old lady. I don't know those words.
Stop it.
You can just put our names in the bottom. Just change out the banner. Just put our names at the bottom, so if they want to reach out to us.
Change the banner. There you go.
But I mean, look, I think just to kind of end, just give it a little piece too. I think all in all, it comes down to just, again, you gotta be alert. Okay, you gotta be alert. You gotta be aware of your surroundings, and I guess that's the S speaking. But you just have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to be on alert, and you always have to be attentive, because that's really what it's going to take for you to hear what it is people are looking for, what they want, who they're looking to work with, what they don't like. So all of that would come out of asking the right questions. Israel presented it, right? You got to ask them, describe your home for me. That's a great question to ask. Why?
Yeah.
Who is going to say, oh, Israel, you want me to tell you about my home? Let me tell you about this home. I hate this.
No, I know. That's a really good point. So until next time, I think next time we have the last installment on the personality profile.
Yes, we do.
C. And I'm going to give you a little insight.
Is that Spanish?
Oldest daughter is a typical C. So it's very interesting coming from a DI mother, and her sister is a very high I. She's an IS. And my other daughter is a very high C and a little bit of S. So it's we're gonna have a good laugh.
we're gonna have a good time, I'm sure.
So we'll discuss working with buyers and sellers of the C personality type. So stay tuned until next time, next Friday at 11 on Facebook. Thank you, guys. Thank you for
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Israel.
Woo!
Woo!
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.